Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning. Hope you guys are having a great start to your morning, a great start to your Tuesday, and a great work week so far. Going to give you an update on what is going on with the weather specifically for today, which is your 12th. And I hope you guys are staying safe out there, especially in Arkansas. I always go to bed really early, guys, about 8:30, 9 p.m., and I'm up at about 4 to 4:30 a.m. in the morning, just acknowledging comments and prayer requests and things like that. So a lot of things normally happen right after I go to sleep. So, I woke up and I saw some nocturnal tornadoes that ended up developing. So I hope you guys are staying safe out in Arkansas this morning. And hopefully as the sun comes up, we don't have any reports of any deaths or major damage, but we'll see how it is as the coming hours do progress here. But we're going to talk about the weather today and talk about the weird threat that we have. Not weird, but, there's a large area that's under the gun. But only a small, maybe couple areas will actually literally be under the gun. So you have the ingredients there for some nasty, severe weather, but will they develop? So we've been talking about this for the last few days for today, your Tuesday. So we're going to talk about what we know and give you a daily forecast for today, and then stay tuned for tonight. Hopefully I will not have any internet issues, and I can make a detailed videos, and I will be able to get really detailed about tomorrow, which I think could potentially be the worst day out of the three. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate the ongoing support. And as always, if you guys got anything I can pray about, put it in the comments below. If it's unspoken, just put that. And we can all look out for one another and pray for one another. So let's get going here. So right now, you actually have trimmed down the enhanced risk. It's been kind of there's a southern enhanced risk right here, and then there's a northern enhanced risk. The southern enhanced risk covers areas like Dallas, Fort Worth, Waco, Texas. The northern covers a large portion of Iowa, which I mentioned last night had the potential and has the potential to produce a little bit later this afternoon. But this also includes Kansas City, the northeast areas of Kansas. It includes areas of far eastern Nebraska. And then you got the large slight risk, which I think ongoing storms will have the potential here. But right in here, where there'll be a dry line set up, and we're not going to get very detailed. I'm here just to give you the cut and dry information this morning, like I always do in the morning videos. But there's going to be something called a cap in place that's, even though you have all these ingredients in the low levels, they can't really bust through and really have explosive thunderstorms that take advantage of all the ingredients that are actually just sitting there waiting to be taken advantage of. But there's something called a cap, which is warm air aloft, which limits explosive updrafts. So tornado threat is the highest in Iowa today, right? Well, we have something called the triple point, where the surface low is scooting across the upper Midwest, and just southeast of it, you have the low-level jet and the kinematics in place aloft, the wind energy that really helps spin up these updrafts. Plus, you have just enough high-end dew points into the 60s, the high-end upper 50s into the low to mid-60s in this area that gets pulled all the way out the Gulf. Then you have enough surface heating, and then you have enough convective energy, that CAPE storm juice right here, to create the dynamics for a tornadic situation up here in Iowa, I really think later this afternoon. Wind threat is there, also with that 30% chance of wind damage occurring in 25 miles in any given location, each area of the red. And then the hail threat is pretty large. If anything does get developing along does develop, see if I can talk straight this morning, does develop along this dry line, this hatched area, there is a 10% risk of damaging hail 2-inch diameter or larger to occur in this area. But that's if storms really do develop in this area. But you do have a 30% chance right in here and a 30% chance right here of hail occurring in 25 miles in any given location in these regions where supercells can develop. We had very large hail last night in Arkansas also, and ended up pretty much verifying. Some of the hail looked like baseball-sized hail. So we're going to have similar situation today outside even the tornado threat. But I want to show you this. This is watches and warnings. You see this red right here? That is blizzard warnings. We're going to briefly talk about this at the end of the video, but a blizzard will get kicked up later this afternoon, about midday to early afternoon, and we will have feet of snow in North Dakota and maybe areas of North Dakota and South Dakota and even eastern areas of Montana going forward here, where you see the pink right here. You obviously have these fire dangers in place where you really just need the rain to happen, but it just will not happen, except you just get a lot of dry air and wind. So fire danger will be a factor here in these areas in the Midwest and the southern plains today. Water vapor loop, You see this dipping right here. That is our upper trough that's digging into the western U.S., and then it's going to eject across the middle of the country. You see all these white colors right here. That is convection blowing up, where you see the higher water content in the atmosphere. So you're going to have a piece of energy that scoots off the middle of the country that will promote this severe weather event across the middle of the country and the upper part of the country here. But this is the upper trough digging here that's going to create and become negatively tilted and be an absolute monster of a storm, you know, for a large portion of the country. Very dynamic because it gets negatively tilted. And when you have so much dynamics, you can have a blizzard in one area, and then maybe just a few hundred miles, maybe several hundred miles southeast, you can have severe thunderstorms and supercells, storms that are producing tornadoes. That's what happens when you have such dynamics at play with these kind of setups here. So let's go on and look at the HRRR model and see what we got looking at here. What can happen across the eastern U.S. today, and then we'll get a little bit closer look at them supercells that can potentially develop in Iowa today. But this morning you have ongoing rain moving through Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe even northern areas of Alabama. Then you got some moisture flowing through here in the northeast, so a wet start to your Tuesday up here, especially along the I-95 corridor. But as we continue through midday, convection will be ongoing still, but nothing really in the way of strong storms or anything like that. Just some maybe showers and maybe some heavier burst of rain here in Tennessee and Kentucky. But this will go on and move out. And then you see our surface low developing along this trough right here. You'll get a couple more hours into the HRRR model. We're getting into around 4 to 5 p.m. And here it is. You got these big-time supercells that develop in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. As this surface low has kind of trended more north over the last few days, but you also have some nasty storms showing up down here in Texas also. We'll get a little bit closer look at this. And then you have ongoing convection in Louisiana, and I think there will be some severe storms in areas of Mississippi and Louisiana a little bit later this evening for sure. So let's go on and look at how warm it can get. Big-time surface heating going to occur in the middle of the country, getting into the 90s in Oklahoma, even into areas of Kansas, 80s, so it's going to be very warm today, and we'll warm up even throughout the afternoon hours, 80s into the Carolinas, 80s into the deep south, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, 70s and 80s in Tennessee, and then 60s in general and close to 70s in the Ohio Valley, and a little bit nippy in the northeast for you folks up there in the 50s and maybe 40s in the higher elevations where it's just a change in the seasons. It's taking a while to really warm up on average, and Florida's looking nice in the 70s and 80s for sure today, mainly 80s actually, where obviously the temperatures occur at their highest point a little bit earlier in the day than they do out here where you're in a different time zone. But you can see the cold air in North Dakota where the blizzard starts getting kicked up there, and then the pivotal point being reached up here in Iowa and then areas of southeast South Dakota. So let's take a look at what could happen today across Iowa. You see the surface low. Now the HRRR model is trying to show where it could potentially be. First off, look at all the snow falling in North Dakota. This is around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. It is absolutely unloading snow for about 70% of North Dakota. And it's unloading. I mean, it's really impressive. It's going to be heavy snow also. When you get these troughs that they get negatively tilted, the dynamics max out. They really do. And you get some crazy stuff like tornadic supercells right here developing in southern Minnesota. Normally, you don't see these kind of setups where you have supercells this far north until you get into late May, June, even July, where basically tornado season kind of shifts way up here in the jet stream, goes way up here to the north in general, all the way up in Canada, and then you have some nasty setups kind of deeper into the summer. But there is going to be some tornadoes in southern Minnesota today, and potentially strong tornadoes, as you have a hatched area where you have a 10% risk of seeing a stronger tornado today of an EF2 or higher. So there is going to be some tornado producing storms in this area of Iowa, and then in this area in Minnesota a little bit later today. Then it quickly is going to become linear, and you can even have some nasty storms in Minnesota today. Linear meaning it's going to kind of turn into a bowed out line of storms. Storms finally look to fire up in areas like Nebraska, southeast Nebraska, and then areas of eastern Kansas as we're going into the overnight hours, and this line will quickly weaken, but it's still just unloading snow in North Dakota and eastern Montana and areas of far northwestern South Dakota. You look down south, what kind of storm development could we get today? Well, it's possible we're starting to get around 1, 2, 3 p.m., and then we're getting to around 5 p.m. You got some storms developing in southwest and southern areas of Louisiana. And then look at this lone supercell right in the middle in the heart of Texas. Watch out, just probably southwest of Dallas-Fort Worth. This little lone cell, which has consistently been showing up on short range, could produce a tornado and produce large hail. And I really think that's going to be the case today, as the cap will break somewhat, as you'll have a little bit more moist profiles out here. But you notice, you have some extreme dynamics building in this region, but nothing is popping up. That's why you have a slight risk, and you're thinking, well, why do you have a slight risk in this region when nothing is even showing on these short-range models? Because you have a cap in place, and it's limiting any kind of explosive thunderstorm updrafts from really getting going here. But watch out for a couple lone storms in Texas today, probably west and southwest of Dallas-Fort Worth. Watch out. Any small towns in this region need to watch out for some big-time hailers and maybe a potential tornado. But moisture working its way into the evening hours into Mississippi, southern Mississippi for sure. But you see all the available energy today, right? This builds into the middle of the country. You have Cape values surging, getting close to 4,000 surface Cape. This builds all the way into the pivotal point. That's why I think there's going to be some nasty storms. There's going to be a quick little kind of section of a ton of available energy here in Iowa today. And I really think it could get dangerous. You know, you guys saw that awful couple of tornadoes that moved through y'all's areas, I think March 3rd, a couple months back, and it was about a month ago. And it was a nasty situation. So please be prepared if you're in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa today, all of Iowa. And just be prepared in general, because, you never know if one of these storms breaks the cap in areas around Oklahoma City, Kansas. It is going to be destructive. I mean, it is going to be an absolute monster of a storm if something does develop in this region today. But there's a higher chance that it does not than it does. And, short-range models are definitely showing that. But a ton of Cape in this region, so, you could have some storms in Arkansas today, Missouri. So a lot of energy to play around with, but do the storms actually take advantage of it? Let's hope they don't, because if they do, it's going to get really nasty out there. But check out the snow that could fall up in North Dakota just between now and tomorrow morning. This is still snowing in these regions. So you could have a foot of snow that falls in 24 hours, actually less than 24 hours in some of these regions. Like I said, negatively tilted trough, the dynamics get maxed out, and the precipitation is normally very heavy. I know I've been talking about North Dakota a lot, but eastern areas of Montana also, you guys could really get hit. In fact, I'll go on and look at Montana. Let's see if I can get it up really quick without messing anything up. Here we go. Montana, for my folks in Montana, you guys, a lot of snow today. I mean, over a foot of snow over the next 24 hours in a large portion of Montana. I'm not going to pretend like I know every single town and city in Montana, but I know that the elevation flattens out here and becomes more of a plateau and plains. But a lot of snow is going to fall, and even down here in Yellowstone and areas of Wyoming, you guys could see some snow today. A lot of snow. So for early April standards, this is a lot, and you can see it. We'll look out west. You can see this thing kicking up. This is around midday today. Pouring snow in North Dakota, areas of eastern Montana. A lot of snow falling at very low elevations. The snow levels are very low this morning and will be all day. It's going to be well below average across this portion of the western U.S. I mean, well below average, and even below average to the south, where the trough is dug now into this region. And it's just going to be a chilly day and very active day, where you're going to have almost snow showers, snow squalls, and just a lot of snow falling along Washington State. It's not going to be, snow levels aren't going to be quite low enough to snow in Seattle, but I tell you what, you probably don't have to drive far into the hills, and it'll be snowing. I know a lot of these regions are very elevation dependent, so very active day across Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington State, Northern California, areas of Nevada, where you have a lot of snow kind of moving in, a lot of moisture moving off the western coast, so onto the western coast. So, definitely prepare for that. And you look at the temperatures. These are high temperatures today, guys. Look how dynamic this is. Look at the boundary. Temperatures into the 80s, pushing 90. But, you go into the Rocky Mountains in Montana, the entire state of Montana almost stays below freezing today, well below freezing too. And even look at the valleys. The valleys are going to be below average. Just a few days ago, it was pushing 100 degrees in certain areas in these valleys. But even Phoenix, only 60s for highs today. Very cool across the west. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll have you an update tonight on what is going to happen tomorrow. So be safe out there. I know these storms aren't going to be affecting, heavily populated areas necessarily, but you never know when your house is going to get hit. God bless all y'all. Stay safe. I'll talk to y'all this evening.